Our story begins as a group of kids who dream of becoming treasure hunters, with the goal of obtaining all the glory. Everyone is in total agreement, including the kid who is dressed in a cardboard box, and they vow to become the strongest heroes in the world. Treasure hunters travel the world to explore ruins called treasure vaults, so they can collect the relics hidden inside. They risk their lives fighting monsters called phantoms, but in return they can obtain vast treasure and glory. A very highly regarded clan is holding interviews for potential new members, and our protagonist Cry waits in line. There is a limit to how far a solo hunter can go, so it is vital to join a party if they have their sights on a high goal. A girl named Ruta introduces herself to Cry because she is the only one around that doesn't look like a creep, but Cry awkwardly doesn't shake her hand. Ruta wants to join a party because she has been having a hard time with a certain treasure vault, but some guy mocks her for trying to do so, while only being level 3. Ruta is insulted when he calls her an amateur, but the guy points out that she is too low of a level to join the renowned First Steps clan. The guy recommends that she just go home, but Ruta challenges him to a fight. The argument is broken up, and Cry is glad that the commotion is over. Inside, Ruta is overwhelmed by all the hunters that are trying to join the First Steps clan, and she is shocked to hear that this is Cry's 5th time being at one of these interviews. Skill is everything for hunters, and those with talent can instantly make a name for themselves and climb the ranks. However, those without talent can only cling to the few chances they get. The First Steps clan consists of several parties, and the Arc Brave party is the strongest in this interview. They even managed to complete a level 7 treasure vault with just 6 of their members. Their leader is Arc Rodan, and if he accepts a hunter, then they are guaranteed to be successful. However, as far as Kai knows, the Arc Brave has never accepted a new member through one of these interviews. Their table is surrounded by a ton of interviewees, but Ruta wonders why another party only has one single empty chair. Just then the big guy named Greg comes out of nowhere and explains that the table belongs to the party that originally founded the First Steps clan. They are called the Grievers, and they came to the capital years ago. With their overabundant talent, they made a name for themselves as one of the top parties in the capital. Their full name is the Grieving Souls, and they are the party of Cry's childhood friends. This is the first time that the Grievers are accepting new members, and it is the entire reason so many people came out to the event. There is no one at the table, so it seems like this might have just been a false rumor. One red-headed kid makes his presence known by saying that he has no time for losers, and he demands to know where the Grievers are. The kid boasts about already being level 4, and he was planning to allow the capital's strongest party to recruit him. Some girl named Tino is stopped from showing this kid his place, but Tino plans to make it quick, just like her sister would do. Tino wants to teach him a lesson because she deserves to be in Grieving Souls before this kid, but Tino is reminded that the clan master told her not to make a scene. It is too late as everyone antagonizes them, and they make room for a fight. Tino is eager to get going, but Cry is worried about something, and he tells Ruta to come outside with him. The redhead kid wants to do some trash talking, but Tino plans to hear what he has to say after she chops his head off, because again that is what her sister would do. As Cry makes his escape, Cry thinks about how he never should have come today. As anticipation for the fight reaches its peak, Tino senses something shocking enough to draw her attention away. Tino completely ignores the feverish chanting for the battle, and pays no attention to the redhead kid who is powering up his sword. Instead, Tino's focus is now completely on Cry. Tino shocks everyone by rushing to Cry, but what is even more strange is that she calls him Master. It turns out that Cry is actually the First Steps clan master and leader of Grieving Souls. The clan was waiting for him to get started, and everyone was shocked to realize who he was. In this golden age of treasure hunters, one man stood amongst all of them, and his name was Cry. Several years before all this, Cry and his friends arrived at the capital. They were new, but they were finishing treasure vaults, suited for beginners and record speeds. One time Cry was saved by his friend, but his friend just assumed that he was just acting as bait. Cry and his friends all shared the same dream of becoming great hunters, but the amount of talent they had was not equal. Cry's 5 friends possessed monstrous potential, so Cry considered himself to be exceedingly ordinary compared to them. That was when Cry decided that he would only get in their way if he stayed with them. They were all close friends, so they never said anything, so Cry knew that he would have to decide to leave himself. Cry tried to tell them all goodbye one day, but they shockingly decided to make him their leader instead. They were all in total agreement, so Cry wondered if they even listened to what he just said. The decision was already made for him, so Cry has spent the last 4 years as the leader of a party of his gifted childhood friends. The entire time, Cry wished that he could just retire from being a hunter altogether. Back to the present, Ruta can't believe that she was talking to the clan master of First Steps. Cry was super late to the interview, because he overslept, but Ark thinks that it was just a joke. Tino tells Ark to get away from him, because she hates how superficial he is, but Ark just thinks she is joking too. Ark credits Cry for diligently scouting the crowd, but he is way off. Ark is impressed that Cry went undercover without his uniform, but again Cry points out that he really did just oversleep. Tino has had enough of Ark, so she wants him to be removed from the clan altogether, but this guy is the leader of Ark Brave. Tino is a solo hunter affiliated with First Steps, and she is an apprentice to Cry's childhood friend named Liz. Cry says that there is no room for new members in the Grieving Souls, but he gets an idea, and Cry wonders if Ark Brave would take in a new member if he recommended them. Ark trusts Cry with all his heart, so Ark says that he would. This shocks everyone in the room, because Ark Brave rarely ever accepts anyone, but Ark says that one person wouldn't hurt. Cry is glad that Ark is such a generous guy, but one of their members is furious about having someone forced onto their team. Tino assumes that she is the one he will be recommending, so she is really grateful. Tino is distracted when the redhead kid from earlier wants his revenge, but Cry says to leave him be. The kid introduces himself as Gilbert, and Cry is surprised to hear that he is at a party, even though he is a level 4. Cry can tell that this kid won't be an asset immediately, but he will become something special once he gets training from Ark and the others. However, Cry is really bad at judging people, so whoever he picks to join Ark will be based on luck. Then Cry shocks everyone when he chooses to recommend Gilbert, but only on one condition. Cry explains that the most important thing for a hunter is to not lose, because being weak only puts their party in danger. Because of this, Cry needs Gilbert to show that he is not going to lose. Cry gives Gilbert a fair warning, because he has never lost a single time since becoming a hunter. Everyone is amazed by Cry's confidence, but Cry knows that this fact is only true because he has actually never been in a proper fight before. Cry doesn't plan to fight directly this time either. Cry makes things way more interesting by telling everyone that whoever ends up with his ring will be the one he recommends to join Ark Brave. Cry starts off the madness by giving the ring to Gilbert, so Tino instantly kicks Gilbert right in his face. The ring is tossed from Gilbert's hands, and everyone wonders if he is even alive anymore. Everyone goes crazy as they go after the ring, and Cry tells them that it's actually a relic that they can keep if they get it. As the chaos intensifies, Cry says goodbye to the two he met earlier, and decides to head home. The next day, Cry is told that he made the front page news. Cry made a huge fight break out, and it ended up with the entire venue getting blown up. The vice clan master is Eva, and Cry tells her to use Ark Brave's funds to pay for the repairs. Eva thinks that Cry depends on Ark way too much, but Cry doesn't think much of it. Ark is a really laid-back guy, so Cry wants Ark to speak with the Angry Explorers Association for him as well. The Explorers Association wants to speak with Cry directly, but Cry doesn't want to go outside without an escort. To make things worse, Cry's disguise relic was broken as well. Cry's disguise relic is called Reversible Face, and it allows its users to have any face they want. Eva assures him that no one will attack him during the day, so Cry decides to just go. At the Explorers Association, Cry begs for mercy and apologizes for causing so much commotion. The association branch manager is Gark, and he tries to calm Cry down. Cry frantically continues to defend himself and points out that no civilians were hurt. Gark's assistant wishes that Gark wouldn't scold Cry so hard, but Gark points out that he hasn't even said anything yet. Gark explains that while no one has formally complained about the incident, clans like First Step still need to set an example for the other hunters. Gark can't just let Cry go unpunished. The Explorers Association gets tons of jobs, and some of them hardly pay any money. The other problem they have is that some jobs are so incredibly difficult that nobody will do them. The hunters call these types of jobs chores. Gark plans to punish Cry with one of these chores, and he gets upset when Cry seems like he is going to reject it. Cry clears things up by accepting the punishment, but Cry points out that what he did this time wasn't actually that bad. Cry looks through the book of chores, and Cry plans to pick an easy one, then he will just pass on to Ark anyway. Cry finds the perfect level 3 chore, and he calls it corpse retrieval duty. The girl points out that it is actually a rescue mission, and she wishes that Cry wouldn't joke about the hunters not surviving. After Cry leaves, Gark is impressed with Cry for actually choosing the most dangerous mission. When Cry returns to his clan house, Cry is shocked to hear that everyone else in the clan is out doing something. Tino reveals that she ended up with his ring because she didn't want anyone else to touch it, and Tino is glad to hear that she can keep it. Tino is surprised when Cry asks if she is free right now, and Tino eagerly says that she has never been more free in her life. Tino is expecting him to ask her out on a date, but Cry just wants her to do the chores. Tino runs away as fast as she can, but Cry uses his hounding chain to capture her. Tino has never been more disappointed, as she just wanted to go have some ice cream with Cry. Instead, Cry just pushed a terrible chore onto her. What is worse is that Tino is just a level 4 and she can't rescue 5 people on her own. Tino knows that Cry sends his subordinates on mission, where they nearly meet their demise to make them stronger. But Tino begs Cry not to get carried away with this kind of training. Cry agrees that she shouldn't go alone. Tino assumes that this means Cry will be going with her, but Tino is disappointed to find that Cry just teamed her up with the hunters he met earlier. 6 years ago, Cry and his friends arrived at the Explorers Association. It is the treasure hunter headquarters, but Cry was hesitant to enter. Everyone reminded Cry that it was his idea to aim for the capital, but Cry feared that he would hold everyone back because of how useless he was. Luke had enough of all this overthinking, and Luke just barged into the association and declared that he was the greatest swordsman in the world. Luke demanded to know who the strongest fighter was, and he challenged them for the title. Liz doesn't want Luke to take all the glory, so she introduces herself as the greatest thief in the world. Cry just wanted to get the registration over with, but his friends went around making declarations. Luke told someone that the truly strong don't need to rely on a weapon, and he said that these are really the words of Cry, their team leader. Cry was told that they would have to register with their party's name and crest, but they never thought about those things. The clerk said that it was really important, so they should take their time deciding, but Cry had a different idea. Cry wanted to get revenge for his friends making him their leader, and Cry chose a name that he was sure would make everyone think that they were weak. Cry's friends were shocked when Cry chose to call them the Grieving Souls, and he made their crest of the skull. Cry's friends reminded him that there was supposed to be a hero party, but a name like that would make it seem like they were antisocial. Cry tried to use this opportunity to weasel himself out of being their leader, but his friends ended up liking what he chose. With that, their party was made official, and it was the start of how Cry became the renowned leader of the strongest clan. Back to the present, Greg still can't believe that Cry is the clan master of Footprint. This is because the master has the nickname of 1,000 Tricks, and is also a level 8. Tino demands that the newbie group bow down before Cry, but Cry tells Tino to calm down. Hunters who achieve a certain status are given special names by the association, and they become revered almost like celebrities. There is no higher praise for a hunter, and 1,000 Tricks is the name that was given to Cry. 1,000 Tricks is known as the strongest hunter in the capital, so Gilbert refuses to believe that Cry is him. Tino tells Gilbert that he is just wasting his life if he can't even recognize Cry's power, and Tino tells Cry that she can't work with these losers. Tino hates guys that are all talk, but Cry thinks that he is also one of those guys. Cry doesn't consider himself to be the strongest in the capital, and he only became known as that because his friend shouted it to everyone. Gilbert refuses to party up with Tino as well, but it is because he doesn't want to listen to a guy that is lying about being level 8. Greg tries to remind Gilbert who he is picking a fight with, but Gilbert just can't believe that Cry is the leader of the strongest party. An argument breaks out between newbies, so Cry decides to just give up on convincing Gilbert. Greg and Ruta are on board, so Cry tells Tino to get another guild member to help her if she needs it. Tino cleverly tries to choose Cry, but Cry quickly shuts her down. That is all settled. But out of nowhere, Gilbert challenges Cry. Gilbert refuses to listen to anyone weaker than him, so if Cry can beat him, then he will go with Tino. Cry accepts the challenge, but Cry sends Tino to fight in his place. Tino eagerly points out that Gilbert was being rude to the master, so it's time for her to give divine punishment down upon him. Tino stretches before the fight, but Gilbert is eager to get his rematch. Gilbert insists on fighting Cry next, but Cry doubts that he will even come close to beating Tino. Then Gilbert is shocked to hear that Tino is level 4 just like him. Tino admits to being garbage compared to Cry, but Tino is confident that she will win the fight easily. Tino even decides to hold back, so she doesn't kill Gilbert by accident. The other rookies are kind of worried about Tino, because thieves aren't so great at head-to-head combat. Cry, on the other hand, knows better. Tino has plenty of experience fighting humans, and she achieved level 8 solo, so Tino is likely way better than Gilbert. However, Cry is slightly concerned about Gilbert's relic. It is called the Purgatory Sword, and it might be able to help in Gilbert's favor. Just then Gilbert shocks everyone, as he throws his powerful sword aside. Gilbert refuses to let anyone underestimate him, and Gilbert declares that he doesn't need a weapon to defeat an unarmed female. A swordsman throwing his sword away seems pretty stupid to Cry, but at least now the fight can come down to sheer ability. Tino prepares for battle, and she manages to convince Cry to take her for ice cream when she wins. Tino starts to fight off by surprising Gilbert with her amazing speed, and her kick sends Gilbert flying. Gilbert isn't ready to give up, but Tino puts him in a lock and reminds him that she was holding back a lot. Tino offers to have mercy on Gilbert, but only if he worships Cry as a god from now on and prays to him 3 times a day. Tino also demands for Gilbert to bring her tributes that she can pass on to Cry. Gilbert loses his mind with anger, as he won't be made a fool of, but Tino instantly silences him. Tino credits Cry for helping her get so strong, but Cry doesn't think he really did anything. The others are shocked by how strong the footprint is, and Gilbert can only wallow in his failure. Gilbert always knew that he was born to be a hunter. Gilbert wielded a sword at a young age, and he quickly surpassed adults with his skill. Gilbert eventually came to the capital, where he joined a party and cleared several treasure vaults. Gilbert was proud of himself, and Gilbert began to believe that he was the best. Now Tino tells Gilbert that he should try using his sword if he wants to keep fighting, but Gilbert refuses. Tino mocks him for his pride, and points out that it's all for nothing if Gilbert ends up losing his life. Gilbert realizes that Tino is right, because he would have been long gone if this was a real fight. Gilbert is surprised when Cry correctly guesses that Gilbert left his party because he was too strong for them. Cry says that the same thing happened with his party, but Cry thinks about how in his case, his friends didn't abandon him. Unfortunately, Gilbert takes this the wrong way. The Grieving Souls is a group of elites who stand out even above all the greatest parties. So Gilbert is shocked, because he thinks that Cry has been showing mercy to his teammates by staying with them, even though he is far stronger than them. Cry shocks Gilbert when he touches his sword, activating its power, and Cry can tell what it does. It causes elemental damage, and it gives improved attack range. Gilbert can't believe his eyes, because he has never seen anyone handle the Purgatory Sword so easily. That isn't all, as Cry has created a flame that even he has never been able to achieve. Cry did all this without even touching the hilt of the sword. Gilbert's frustration builds as his ego is destroyed, and he calls Cry a monster. We then learn that mana material is said to be the core substance of this world, and treasure vaults are a phenomena where mana material is condensed. This creates alternate worlds inside the vaults based on memories extracted from the core of the world. The White Wolf's Den is one of these vaults, and it is the one Tino is going to. It was inhabited by Silver Moon wolves, but this monster was eradicated due to uncontrolled hunting. The vault eventually appeared, along with a Blood Wolf phantom. Cry is glad that he didn't go himself, but he is sure that Tino and the others will be fine. It is only a level 3 vault, and there are 4 in Tino's party. Later, Cry thanks Eva for telling him about Gilbert leaving his old party, because it allowed him to surprise Gilbert. Eva heard about what happened earlier, so Cry explained that the sword was a type of relic that he could control easily. Cry loves relics, because they have an infinite variety of shapes and uses, making them fun to collect. Also, they allow someone like him to create miracles. Cry wonders if he could buy the Purgatory Sword from Gilbert, but Eva hates his reckless spending. Eva thinks that Cry has plenty of relics like it already, but Cry points out that they are all vastly different. They might look similar, but they have their own abilities, and they do different things. Cry is seriously addicted to collecting them, and Eva has heard that he has been taking out loans to buy them. Despite the Grievers making tons of cash, Cry is a serious relic addict, and he has borrowed a considerable amount of money. The Grievers' profits are split evenly amongst its members, regardless of contribution, so even Cry, who doesn't do anything, gets lots of money. When Cry goes to get his relics charged, he is told about a rumor saying that a phantom has appeared on a nearby road. It destroyed an entire guarded caravan, along with 3 level 3 guards. This means that it must be pretty strong, so the Knights of the Third Order are recruiting for an extermination party. Cry is shocked to learn that it happened by the White Wolf's den, and the vault is now crawling with wolves. Cry convinces himself that it is only a rumor, and even if it isn't, Tino is strong enough to handle anything. Of course, the rumor continues, because the monsters inside the wolf's den are apparently getting stronger. The association is even talking about changing its level. Cry continues to brush it off, but the rumor also says that a level 5 party has gone missing in the area. This shocks Cry, so Cry checks the fact sheet for the chore he chose. It does indeed reveal that the party in need of rescue is level 5, and Cry regrets never actually reading the sheet. The pair Cry is talking to is shocked to hear that Cry sent the level 4 Tino to a vault where level 5s have gone missing, but Cry says that it will be good practice for her. Cry tries to assure them more by saying that he sent 3 adventurers with Tino, but they are horrified that Cry sent Tino with a makeshift group. They always thought that the horrifying rumors about the trials Cry put his members through were not true, but it is clear now that the tests he does are what make the Grievers the top party. Cry begins to panic about sending the group to their demise, but he again convinces himself that they will be okay. Gilbert is pretty strong, and he also has a powerful relic. Unfortunately, Cry remembers that he used up all the sword's power, and he can only wonder if Gilbert charged it before leaving. We then watch as the group approaches the White Wolf's Denver. They begin to sense how dangerous the mission is, and Tino explains that she even wrote her will before leaving. Ruta determines that Cry knew that something was going on in the den, which is why he sent them. Tino believes this as well, as she is certain that their party's composition isn't random. Tino says that Cry planned every tiny detail, but the guys refuse to believe it because they all just met the day before. Also, Gilbert only came along because he decided to. Just then Gilbert remembers that Cry even knew why he left his old party, and he realizes that Cry was just manipulating the situation from the very beginning. Tino adds to Cry's legend by explaining that he has vast knowledge of all the adventures in the capital, and it's child's play for him to read their actions and thoughts. Ruta finds it hard to believe, but Greg points out that Cry even calculated what would happen at the interview. Every single thing that has happened has been premeditated. Tino tells them all not to worry, because no matter what happens, it is all according to Cry's calculations. Tino is sure that Cry would never send them on an impossible mission. Unfortunately for these idiots, they are way off, as Cry has done exactly that. Cry hopes that the group will eventually just give up when the mission becomes too hard. But Cry knows that Tino won't quit easily. No one will respond for backup at this time of day, so Cry will have to go himself. Back with the group, they are terrified when they encounter a powerful phantom. This is clearly no regular wolf, as it has armor, and even a sword. Tino thinks this is just another legendary test that Cry is putting her through, but Cry is desperately searching for relics to help him stop the group from going to the vault. Cry tries to get as many as he can, but a safe captures his attention. Eva wonders what Cry is doing, so Cry just tells her that he is going for a little stroll. Eva can tell that Cry is worried about the group, but she is shocked to see that he is even taking something called citry slime. Cry denies even having this item, because it would violate Imperial law. However, Cry thinks about how all the relics that he could use for offense are out of mana, so he needs to take it as a last resort. Eva wonders if Cry should take someone with him, but Cry's traveling relic only works on one person. Cry activates the relic and takes off into the sky. This concerns Eva because it is the relic from the horrifying human missile incident. It is called the Night Hiker, but it is incredibly dangerous. It has 0 safeties, no brakes, and it can't hover or steer. It's basically defective. So now what will happen with Cry? Subscribe to our channel to find out what will happen next. So friends, if you liked our recap video, then please like and share this video, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.